Alright, so here's the deal. Let's dive into something really fun together. I bet my grandma could totally train this AI way better than anyone else. Now, when I say grandma, I don't mean like a literal grandma. I mean it more as an archetype, right?
Like we all have that one grandma who is very opinionated, a little bit sassy, likes to yell at you a lot, but in a cute way. You know what I mean?
You know, she absolutely loves to bake cookies. It's her thing. You know how all grandmas have that special way of making everything feel cozy? And lastly, she's also just really loving and caring and warm. And so I have prepared some audio clips of my grandma and I talking about some different topics, and I'm gonna play them for this AI and see if it can learn to sound like my grandma. So I think that the first thing that I should do is to start yelling at it a little bit. So I've got this little piece of code here where I am saying, if my hair is longer than 3 centimeters, then print out loud, your hair is too long, you dirty animal. And then I have another little bit of code which says, if my hair is shorter than 3 centimeters, then print out loud, your hair is too short, you dirty animal. And just to be extra clear, I have this third little bit of code which says, if my hair length is equal to 3 centimeters, then print out loud, your hair is perfect, you dirty animal. I think that was kind of mean to call somebody a dirty animal, but whatever. This is just a super simple little program that does some cool stuff. Honestly, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's totally fine. It's just that it doesn't really sound like my grandma. But hey, fingers crossed that the next one really does blow our minds. So this is literally just me asking the AI, what is your name? And it has been trained on a massive data set of people answering questions. And now it has responded with the most likely answer to my question based on everything that it has been trained on. That is not exactly what my grandma would say, but it is pretty cool how good it is already at just answering a basic question like that. But let's see if we can get it to sound more like her. All right, so now I'm going to try something a little bit different. Remember how I said that my grandma likes to bake cookies? Well, I happen to have a recipe for cookies right here. And I want to ask the AI what ingredient comes after salt in this recipe.
And there it is, right in front of our eyes.
The AI is able to look at this recipe and extract the relevant information that we need. But again, it's not quite sounding like my grandma yet. But I feel like we're getting there. So far, the AI has basically just been regurgitating information that it has found online, but I really want it to learn to sound like my grandma. I feel like the best way to do that would be to show it some pictures of my grandma, and then ask it some questions about those pictures. So let's take a look at this picture. This is my grandma, this is my mom, and this is me. I wonder if the AI can tell the difference between these 3 people. How about we throw a question into the mix and see what happens? What does that adorable little baby want right now? Is it a snack or some cuddles? Well, it says that the little baby wants a cookie. I guess that is true, but I'm not the baby. I'm the one who wants the cookie.
So, I guess that this image to the AI looks like my grandma is holding me and I am the baby. Interesting, but
if I switch the images around a little bit, then things get even crazier. Here's a picture of my grandma. What does the old lady want? She wants a cookie.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
But here's a picture of my mom. What does the middle-aged lady want? She wants a cookie too. And finally, here's a picture of me. What does the young man want? He wants a cookie. I guess it just sees any human being and thinks that they want a cookie. That's pretty funny. Let's take things up a notch and get into some more advanced image recognition.
Here is a picture of me and my grandma.
Let us see if the AI can tell the difference between us. Or if it's just gonna think that we read both cookies. Well, it seems like it does understand that it's supposed to be looking at 2 different people. So that's good. It says that the person on the left is female and the person on the right is male.
Finally, it understands.
But let's go back to the original picture again. So the one where it thinks that I'm the baby, let's remove my face and see if it still thinks that I'm a baby. It does. It still thinks that I'm a baby. So I guess this means that the only way to not be a baby in this AI's mind is to remove yourself from the image entirely. All right, now that we have made sure that the AI knows that I'm a baby, let's see if we can make it say something that my actual grandma would say.
So, remember how I said that my grandma likes to yell at you sometimes?
Well, I've got another clip of me talking to her where I'm trying to sound like a real little baby.
Oh, I'm gonna try my best.
What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color?
What's your favorite color? I wonder if she'll yell at me for being such a bad little baby. Well, did she yell at me? Kinda? It's hard to tell because it's a machine learning algorithm. It's not a real person. It doesn't have feelings. Well, I guess now we have some audio of my grandma yelling at me. And I can use that to train the AI to sound more like her.
All right.
So this is a part of the video where I bring home a whole bunch of yarn and needles and stuff. And I try to teach my grandma how to code.
And I don't know why, but this moment always cracks me up. It S, just like her hands and the way that she S looking at this keyboard. And it just gives me the chills. It's so good. Okay, so before we had the AI identify a bunch of pictures of my grandma, and it was able to do that pretty easily. But now I want to see if it can actually figure out what the words are underneath each of these pictures. All right, so it identified the first one as my grandma and the second one as me. But the third one is not my dad. It's my uncle. But this is a great opportunity for the AI to learn. So, who knows? Maybe it'll nail it next time, right? Let's keep our fingers crossed. All right, so now we're going to move on to something that my grandma really likes to do. She really likes to knit. And so I thought it would be fun to get the AI to knit something.
Now, this is not gonna be easy because there's a lot of yarn involved.
And so I'm going to start off by making the AI knit a scarf.
Now it might be confused about why I am telling it to knit a scarf. Because it has never heard of scarves before.
We really want to make sure it gets the message loud and clear.
Scarf, scarf, scarf.
It totally gets the whole idea, you know?
It really nails the concepts. It understands what a scarf is. Time to get our knitting game on. Let's dive in and create something awesome together. Knit, knit, knit. All right, it started knitting the scarf.
Now, the problem is that it's gonna take a long time for it to knit this scarf.
So instead, let's make it knit a sweater. Sweater, sweater, sweater.
Awesome.
That sounds really good to me. Let's dive right in and have some fun. Now let's make it knit. Knit, 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 knit. All right, it started knitting the sweater, but it's still gonna take too long. So instead, let's make it knit a hat. Hat, hat, hat. Great. Knit time. Folks, let's grab our yarn and needles and create something awesome together. Knit, knit, knit. It starts knitting the hat. Finally, after a few minutes of knitting, the AI finishes the hat.
I guess now we have a hat that the AI knitted for my grandma. But this is not gonna keep her circuits warm enough.
And so I'm gonna have to make it knit an actual sweater. All right, so now I'm gonna put my grandma's circuits into this sweater that the AI knitted for her. Fingers crossed, this works out. I really hope it goes smoothly. Grandma, you're seriously the most beautiful person I know. Inside and out. She sounds so much like my grandma.
So, remember how I said that the AI learns from the data that we give it?
Well, I've been giving it a lot of data of my grandma yelling at me and being sassy and knitting things. And it seems to have worked pretty well. It can now respond in a way that is very similar to my grandma. It even seems to have picked up on some of the slang that she uses, like calling everybody dirty animals. If you want to see what happens when I try to trick the AI into thinking that I'm my grandma, then check out this other video where I do that. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.